Are like, well, what did you gain? Well, what did you get from looting? I think that as long as we're focusing on the what, we're not focusing on the why. And that's my issue with that. As long as we're focusing on what they're doing, we're not focusing on why they're doing. And some people are like, well, those aren't people who are legitimately angry about what's happening. Those are people who just want to get stuff. Okay, well then, let's go with that. Let's say that's what it is. Let's ask ourselves why in this country in 2020, the financial gap between poor blacks and the rest of the world is at such a distance that people feel like their only hope and only opportunity to get some of the things that we flaunt and flash in front of them all the time is to walk through a broken glass window and get it. That they are so hopeless that getting that necklace, getting that TV, getting that change, getting that bed, getting that whatever it is that they're going to get is that in that moment when the riots happen and if they present an opportunity of looting, that's their only opportunity to get it. We need to be questioning that why. Why are people that poor? Why are people that broke? Why are people that food insecure, that clothing insecure, that they feel like their only shot, that they are shooting their shot by walking through a broken glass window to get what they need?
Oh, you want to take that?
You hear me? I want to make sure we good, bro. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we good.
All right, so I'm still trying to remember half of what she said, right? But off top of my head, I got something for her.
He's nuts.
And the reason why is because it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I would say play it again, but I think that's where she said the reason why, or the rationale. Can you remind me what's the rationale on why people are going in and looting it that she's saying?
So she's basically saying that we need to ask why people feel so desperate and so hopeless and so food insecure and so fashionably insecure in terms of their self-image that they would feel like this is an opportunity to capitalize and get everything they've always wanted but never been able to achieve.
So my question for her would be, how does she know this for sure? Like, how can she? Who is she to say that's why they doing it?
That was my argument. Yeah, that was my argument. Like
for me, it sounds like. Wait, that was a video clip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was she participating in the looting? No, right? I'm assuming not.
No.
Okay, so it's not like she hating. You know what I mean? Like, if she understood why people are doing it, right now she'd have given her opinion, and she sounds stupid as fuck. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. When I hear that, like, she's going off of an assumption, not even an assumption. She's speaking that she knows facts. You know what I mean? And everything is opinionated. That's her opinion on why everybody else is doing whatever the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? I can get the fuck about here right now and go motherfucking loot. I got black on. Let me get a hood sweater. I'm gonna run out there right now and loot just because. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I don't need it. I make money. But if I want to go out there for the cause, you know what I mean? For the cause, what's going on in the world with our community, because I want to display my frustration and fuck all these big businesses. You dig what I'm saying? Hell yeah, I'm gonna go out there and motherfucking bash the fucking window. But then the other side, let me stop. I'm an educator. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? So I got to understand all that too. But at the same time, she sounds stupid as fuck for stating an opinion as if it was a fact. So like I said, she can get. I'm gonna end it right there, man.
Yo, I think so. So when I'm listening to her, I get that she's trying to advocate for the people, right? And I think, all right. So here's where people are gonna miss on both sides, and people are going to miss on both sides of what she said. People are going to miss, and they're going to say she's justifying an act that is of animal nature, and she's trying to justify it by coming up with excuses that are, for them, they'll be far removed from the behavior. Like, this has nothing to do with looting, right? But here's what she's also she's calling attention to the fact that there's a system where there have been a people who have been relegated to the loser spot. Now, they've been given all these dreams and pretend opportunities or limited opportunities, but they're still the designated losers. And we have to ask ourselves, why are certain people still the same segregated and designated losers of this system? So much so that they're so desperate that they would really go out and steal clothing? Why would they ever need to steal clothing? Isn't there enough to go around? Isn't there enough opportunity? So she's trying to point that out. But what people are going to miss here is she should be saying that because she wants us to look at this system. That's what she's doing. Let's take a look at the system. But she should also be pointing out that people need to do a better job of seeking out opportunities as well. Because as I look at the other two brothers on this podcast, I'm looking at success, right? And I know where we all came from. And I know we had to get lucky from time to time, but we also had to jump through some hoops that other people didn't want to jump through. So what people are going to miss is it's not either or in this situation. It's both. Yes, we need to ask why in the world are they so desperate, but we also need to ask why haven't they been able to look for more opportunities like the young men on this podcast? So we have to do both.
I hear that. Shit, amen.
Yeah, like I've spoken to other people about this same video and I got different responses from it. And so for me, one thing that stuck out to me, she was saying things that people are looting because they see this as their only opportunity to get things that normally they wouldn't be able to get, right? So, and she also said that these things are flaunted in front of them every day throughout the year, right? Who's flaunting this? Because if we live in the hood, who's flaunting this? Other than we see rappers, drug dealers. Other than that, we don't really see white people. We don't see white people doing this. Like this is not what they do. So it's our own people. In my opinion, it's our own people who are flaunting these things. So what are we trying to live up to? Like I'm trying to understand that. Like what are we trying to live up to? Like what?
Yeah, that begs a big question as to not only who our leaders are, but what images we're trying to live up to. Like you're asking, because the truth of the matter is, there's such a limited idea of what success is in a lot of our impoverished neighborhoods and our black communities. There's such a limited amount of positions that black people can take up in our own minds, right? And it's because not only because of what's popularized in mainstream media, but because of what's communicated in our communities. When you think of something like a guy growing up in the hood, right? Now, like a lot of moms will be like, yo, I don't want you doing this. I don't want you doing that. You are going to school. You're going straight to the basketball court. You're coming back. Don't be out there with them thugs. That's how you get caught up in the streets. That's how you get locked up. So in that, there's a dissonance that's created between those who will go on to be successful and join an exclusive group and those who are left behind. Because those who are left behind are now tethered to a community that creates fear in our black successful people. Because mama and daddy put that fear in them like, yo, stay out the streets, get in them books. The streets are for nobodies. You're going to be a somebody. So I got to stay out the hood if I want to remain a somebody, even after I'm successful. And then those conversations don't happen. Don't nobody know that Earl went on to become an engineer. Don't nobody know that Keith went on to become an architect because they never came back. So all they have left are the ones who frequent the hood and who get their clout and their popularity from the hood. And that's what we see. And that's can't display mainstream media.
And that's what they exploit. You dig what I'm saying? And it's just like behaviors with kids. It's so easy to point out the negative. You dig what I'm saying? Like it's easy to highlight the negative. Look what they doing. But now when it's time to show something positive, you got to dig for that. It's like pulling to get a praise, right? You know what I mean? And it sucks alone that in our community, our culture, it's like frowned upon that if we even express ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we can't express ourselves without being labeled aggressive, angry, intimidating. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what it is. They there's a lot of aggression. There's a lot of hurt feelings out there. And instead of looking at it as like, oh shit, they hurt, they violent. That's what that's what it is. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree with that. That's another good point. I think, you know, in this situation, not necessarily the looting, but let's talk about the looting, because the reason I struggle with the looting is because when you have a situation like the police brutality, and then you have poor white people joining in on the looting, and even wealthy or affluent white people joining in on the looting, they undermine everything, right? So now if it's only poor people looting, then we can look at it and be like, yo, these, they have limited options. But other people are in there sabotaging and undermining. And then what happens is people start to scrutinize the victim. And in America, we do that way too often. People would rather, and everybody's saying it now, people would rather arrest the officers. I'm sorry, they would rather arrest 1,000 people than arrest these 4 officers. Because even though you're hurt, be hurt in a language that we would like to hear. You calm that down. That's too much. Okay, I shot you, but relax. And it kills me when you watch these police videos. That's the clearest depiction. They will run up on somebody, harass an innocent person, and then tell that person to relax.
Yep.
Why? Right? So she's saying stop blaming the victim so much and look at the assailants, bro. And the system in this case is the assailant, or anyone who supports the system. But with the same token, as we said before, we have to acknowledge that there's something broken in our own communities, period. And we got to fix that. We can't wait for somebody to come in and fix it. We got to fix it internally.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, one thing I definitely wanted to touch on was changing the mindset, right? That's what we was talking about. He's pretty much talking about fixing things. But I definitely want to speak on changing the mindset of our culture, right? So it has to be at some point where we, as fathers, as far as raising the next generation, teach them certain things and put them in certain positions so that they don't have to feel, I guess, in her point, that when an opportunity arises, let me go take some stuff. Right?
Right. That's desperation.
Because like one thing, I was just talking to my pastor, right? And he had brought up pretty valid point to me, right? He had an example of most of us, maybe not Leron, but most of us who see a quarter on the street, we would just walk by it like it's a quarter, whatever. Yeah,
snatch that shit up, man.
Right?
Quarter, boy. There's taxes out there, boy.
But if you see $100, we picking that up ASAP, right? So he compared it in the same situation. He compared it to like us. We're not out there looting because that's a quarter to us. It's not worth it, right? But to them, he's saying certain people in these situations, to them, it's $100. So that's why they out there. They see the opportunity to take something because it's there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
either way, and I'm taking a motherfucking $100 bill, nigga. Fuck that.
But so like it's hard for us to condemn that behavior then, right? Because when you look at it, like when you have that kind of comparison, right, the quarter to the $100 bill, then let's take it a step further and say, let's look at the banks that loaned out the amount of money that caused the stock market to crash earlier in this century. When we had that big stock market crash, that was because they were handing out loans left and right. They knew people couldn't cover because they eventually would get bailed out, right? And they were making money hand over fist, and they knew people weren't qualified. They were looting. They were looting the real estate game. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, that's looting on a different level, though.
They didn't approve me, so ain't that some shit? They wasn't. Yeah. Nah, but you absolutely right, LA. That's crazy, man. Like, there's a bigger picture to all this, man. You know what I mean? Like, not to sound, well, I'm gonna sound crazy right now, but I've been watching a lot of like fucking documentaries and movies and shit on prisons and the government and shit, and this shit in my eyes, like, there's it's bigger than the president. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave it there. It's bigger than the president, and I believe that there's another group of whoever the fuck is out there doing God knows what. And I don't want to say the shit on the mic. That's how scared I am, nigga. You know what I mean? But for them group of motherfuckers, you know what I mean? These nuts. They can have that.
Well, I'm not. You know, I've already been talking about it at length, so I'm not gonna hold my tongue. There is a group definitely not only over the president, but over the entire United States.
Damn, you about to get my podcast shut down, man. It's only episode 2, baby.
Nah, you good, bro. I promise you, people gonna be coming back, man. They're gonna be like, yo, you got to do that again. But nah, it's a situation where you got the president is the face of the company, as any president of the company is, right? So he has to be the go-between, not only between the employees and the company, and the investors, but he also has to be the go-between between the company and the customers, right? Because people don't understand that the federal government is there to protect the federal bank before it's there to protect the state. So whomever's investing in that federal bank, just like the stock market, if I invest into like 50% of your company, I get some say-so on how that money's coming back, or else I'm taking my money out. Because if I invest my money, make sure you have my money. And y'all don't know how to do it? Cool. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to affect education policy. We're going to make sure we keep certain people separate so that they become less unpredictable. And we're going to make sure certain people are losers and certain people are winners, so we can keep people happy and they can fight amongst themselves and never challenge the people above the system.
Yep.
It's a system.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I don't even get as mad at Trump as everybody else does. I laugh at Trump. He's entertaining to me. He's also the world's biggest distraction on purpose.
Definitely.
Please.
I mean,
I think in changing the narrative, we not only have to change the narrative on how we teach our sons and our daughters how to invest money before they spend it, we also have to change the narrative in terms of, you do understand, like, the government and all of their politicians and their officials, they're not the end-all, be-all of normalcy or what's right and what's wrong. They're just people who got in good positions within a system that was geared towards people just like them. They got in where they fit in. Sometimes they did it through hard work. Most of the time they did it through like nepotism and inheritance. So you need to look at this as though we're tackling this like we're at war. And then maybe our children will stop being at war with each other and they'll start being at war with the rest of the country so that they can come up. I'm on it, man. I'm telling you.
Yo, you just said a whole lot just now.
I'm telling you, bro. And then through that, our communities will redevelop, because not only will they be building from within, then the rest of us will want to support our kids. We're not only going to support them through going to their educational events, we're going to support them by, I'll buy that shirt. All right, I'll invest in your company. Why wouldn't I invest in my own son's company? My son needs, fine, I'll invest in my son's company. And you know what? Now I'm gaining equity through the company. Exactly. And now I'm not spending my money loosely like the rest of the African Americans who spend like $52 billion a year in everybody else's industries. No, I'm spending it in my own community. Yeah. So forget Nike. I'm spending that at my son's sneaker shop. And my son gets the best sneakers because everybody in the hood buys them. And now it's such an exclusive store in the hood that white people want to come from all over to our hood and skip Nike. And that's how you build from within. We have so much creativity and exclusivity in our black communities, and we sell out all the time individually instead of building groups and conglomerates and taking over together. It's all the time. They pick us out of the barrel and then wonder why we fight like crabs at the bottom of it.
Yep.
It's all the time, man. We got to work together, bro. That's why I'm always talking like this to people who listen. We got to work together. Because the language I've learned, look what I'm reading, bro. I'm reading Nietzsche for fun. The language I learned, this is the language of our oppressors. I study my oppressors. I study my opposition like I want to eat them. I'm a predator for real. So now when I study all their language, I bring it all back to my children. I bring it all back to my brothers. I bring it all back to my students. And you know what I do? I switch it up a little bit, never losing the message or the sentiment, just changing the language. And then when they recognize the language, they, yo. You saying this, but what you really mean is this. Don't try to cloud it. Now they speak that language. That's why they didn't want us to read and write and do math and numbers. Because once we speak the language, they can no longer speak above our heads. Now they got to talk to us.
Yep.
We got to bring them to us.
And these are all things that, like you said, we need to be teaching to our kids, man. Because like I said, the next generation, they have to be knowledgeable of these things. Because honestly, a lot of the stuff that you've spoken on, I did not know about personally. I didn't know about it. And I'm not even going front like I did. Like, I didn't know a lot of it. That's why I was like, yo, when I had text you, I was like, yo, you said a lot of stuff that just got me intrigued. Like, okay.
But think about it, right? Think about where I learned a lot of this stuff. You know what woke me up? I used to go to 8th Philip Randolph on 135th and Convent. Shout out to Harlem, right? I transferred to a boarding school out in Cali thanks to the Boys Club of New York. Shout out to the Boys Club of New York, right? So now I'm starting to talk about some of the hoops I had to jump through. Before I could even transfer to that school out in Cali, not only did I have to repeat my junior year to go there, I also had to go to the Loomis Chafee summer school 2 sessions in a row, 2 years in a row, before I could prove myself coming from that New York City education, because they didn't think it added up. And then so I had to also take a bunch of tests to get in. So now I finally get there. I have to get a scholarship, not only for my books and my tuition, but my flights, bro. How am I supposed to get to and from Cali? So I had to get a sponsor and a scholarship to pay for my books, my flight, my room, my board, and my tuition. I spent 2 years out there. In those 2 years, I learned how to do my own taxes. I learned how to run my own company. I learned how to take the SATs the right way. I learned how to write college essays. I learned how to fill out job applications. I learned how to create job applications. I learned how to run my own company. Back in my public high school, you know what they taught me? To memorize specific tactics, to memorize specific dates, and to utilize them when called upon. Do you know what that means? That means they were training me to fill a position in a factory, because that's where standardized tests come from. They wanted people to fill factories, so they had to, listen, we just need to know you know the right strategy for the right time. Answer these questions, prove it. You got a job in the factory. Push this button when you're supposed to. And when something goes wrong, raise your hand and notify somebody. These are all the same tactics that are happening in the school classroom. They weren't actually educating me. They were training me. When I went out to Cali, they were educating those people. But tuition a year was about $75,000. $75,000 for high school a year? Who you think can afford that? So I just landed there on some sort of scholarship, on some sort of, we got to fill an affirmative action type quota. And I ate. I not only ate in the classroom, I studied them. I studied how they were with me. I studied how they were with each other, and I brought it all back. Now, how many people are going out there doing recon in the opposition community and then bringing it back? No. Once they go out there and then they find acceptance,
they stay out there.
This is a lot easier out here, bro.
Yeah, they stay out there, or they come back and keep that knowledge to themselves.
Right. Right. Because I got to separate myself. And then you got the same situation that you got with the police. Now, here's where a lot of people miss when I talk about the police. The reason the police brutalize us is not just because we're black. It's because we're close in value to those in authority. Hear that again. We are close to the police in value to those in authority. They just need the police to protect property. That's all. They are not that big of a deal. They don't even have to protect the people. They have to protect property, and they have to protect the voters. They are a weapon or a tool. We are a tool because we are the spenders. We are the loose spenders. We are the freelance spenders. We spend in everybody else's community but our own. We have no connection, no solidarity, and so we are easily divided and we are easily defeated. And so don't pay them any mind. They'll never be a force. And so the police are like, well, we ain't them. We're not a bunch of animals. You know, we here to do your work. So what can we do for you, boss? You want us to bust some heads? You want us to go out there and make some collars? We can do it. Will that make us better now? Please, no. And then when they get caught up in some stuff, the administration doesn't care. Yo, man, get back out there, bro. And then they walking around the locker room like, yo, man, I just shot somebody. Oh, you sad about that? Yeah, what the administration say? They said, get back out there. So get back out there. Stop being soft. So now he goes back out there feeling like in order to impress the authorities, I gotta not be soft. I gotta not be sensitive. And there you have the desensitizing of our police officers who are already in competition. And you know what it's like? It's like the abused older brother abusing the younger brother. He learned it from up top. So I can't even get that mad at the police, bro. They just doing what they know how to do to impress those they think they're supposed to impress. And it's the same thing with the black people who are successful. I need to separate myself sometimes from those other people so they know I'm not them. Chris Rock said there's a difference between a black man and a nigger. When he said that, he was talking about separation. When the police beat us, they're beating us for separation. When they first made the Constitution and the slave code, they were talking about separation. The Maryland Edict of 1638, when they talked about we need certain people to only be recognized for their separation. It's always about separation. It's not about race. It's about separation and authority and money. And a lot of people will get missed because the people at the top are like, yo, let them talk about racism. They really think it's all white people. We don't like poor white people either. So who cares? But let them fight amongst themselves. And guess who beats on us? The poor white people, Ku Klux Klan, poor white people, the police department. They all beat on us because, and we're dumb enough to fall for it. We think it's a them problem. No, it's a bigger problem. But when I talk this talk, people are so angry and so passionate that they're like, yo, I don't know how you got from A to Z. I'm really just focused on A and B right now. And I'm like, you could be focused on A and B, but they sitting at Z chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for us, man. And when we come in rioting and protesting, we predictable. So we could riot and protest, but when we riot and protest, I also want us to build our own enterprises. I also want us to invest in our own schooling. I also want us to start going out to be politics. I also want us to vote. Like, we got to have a multifaceted approach, because that's how they keep us down. They use everything to keep us down. We got to use everything to get up.
You can't just stick in one lane, 2 lanes.
Right.
They go 4 lanes, man.
Right.
And I think behind all these protests and riots, like, it has to be a goal. Like, we can't just be out there for one thing. Yeah, police brutality is big, but it's bigger than that. It's big. They see us a certain way, and they treat us a certain way because they're allowed to.
Yes. And the system allows it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So we have to have a different agenda. Like, I
got a question for y'all though. Who's our leader?
Barrino.
Look at the silence. No one has an answer to that question, bro. So how are we gonna go in any direction if we all going in our own directions? We don't have the leader. You feel me? We're in a bad spot right now. Who's our leader? Sean King? No disrespect. I'm just saying, like, that he can't be the leader right now. That's not our leader yet. We need a leader. I thought Al was stepping up. Big Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
No. Al ain't trying to get shot. That's why.
Listen, either he gets shot, he look like he about to go. That boy.
Listen, man, I'll show up for the protests. He show up for the funerals. But as far as just showing up just cause, yeah, he ain't.
Nah.
Yeah, he ain't doing that. He's not doing
that,
man.
I don't think we can make it without a leader, bro. I wish we could, but we're not there yet on a knowledge level. Like, we don't all have that independent bank of knowledge to say, I know exactly what I should be doing for this movement. Like, we need someone to guide us, and somebody needs to say, hey, Leron, you funny? Cool. You should be doing funny skits and funny podcasts with an undertone of knowledge and an undertone of moving the people forward. You know what I mean? Like, we need people like that. Yo, you play ball in the hood, you got 14,000 followers, and every time you go live, 500 people. Yo, just wear this shirt.
Yeah.
It's simple. Anybody can do anything, but people just need to know what they can do. And people don't know. So we need a leader.
And also, it's also people just don't want to take initiative either.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of talking behind the scenes, or a lot of, you know what I mean? If I did this, if it was me, but nobody's really doing shit. Yep. And then also a lot of motherfuckers out there, and I'm saying this because I know, right? There's a lot of motherfuckers out there who is phony as fuck. That's out there marching, that's out there shouting the Black Lives Matter, out there with the signs, who were out there bashing the whole movement 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
We were sitting on the other side of the field when Kaepernick was kneeling. It was like, I don't understand why. Sit your dumb ass down. You know what I mean? Like, now they out there. Black Lives Matter. You already know what I got for them motherfuckers. You already know what I got. They can have them all.
Yo, I felt some type of way that I waited for that sound. I feel some type of way.
I was looking for it. That's why it took so long.
Oh,
but
man.
not seriousness. Like I said, going back to, like, when you said, like, generation thing, it goes back to not only the generation now. It starts with generation before, which is us. You know what I mean? Like I said, they highlight all the negativity, but all three of us, like, hey, we got a whole bunch of positive shit going on in our lives.
Oh yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there's tons of other. You know what I mean? And one thing, like I said, like on me, I'm doing 2 different things. One, I got my nonprofit that I'm starting for the youth, that I'm doing, that's starting and focusing on compost community solely.
Nice.
The reason why I'm doing that is because that's my community. I know exactly what the fuck is going on in my community.
Right.
To even build anything or to understand what's going on, I need to do it there first before I branch off to different communities. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then also the whole thing with 52 mindset is more catered to, like you said, yes, it's funny, but at the same time it's informative. And I'm also promoting up and coming small businesses, artists. You know what I mean? Who are not being highlighted. People who need to have 10K before they got to drop 800 for a promo. Nah, fuck that. Come over here. We build together. You know what I mean? I'm trying, like, if you a cook, if you a baker, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're doing something positive in your community, if you self-own, come talk to me.
I respect that.
Put it up, and that's what it is, man. So that's just a small step. You know what I mean? And I know
it's important though.
There's much more
Yeah,
there.
it's a foundation, cuz honestly, it's a foundation.
Yeah,
and that's what's needed.
And that's why, like I said, I don't get me wrong. I don't know all the answers. You dig what I'm saying? Like I got myself, I got my lady, I got a team of people. You feel me? That's helping, and I got a nice support system. You know what I mean? I look at y'all both my role models, nigga. Like Mel, you already know the vibes, nigga. LA, you already know, nigga. I see you all the time. You know what I mean?
Mad love.
You know all that. But I look up to y'all, like y'all my generation up. You know what I mean? Like you're not too old to me, but we there. You know what I mean? And see that I can look up to gentlemen of color just like that. So then now when it's my time, I can only hope and pray that I got little motherfuckers up there looking up to me and follow that lead too. You know what I mean? So like you said, it starts with us, man. It starts with our community. So
yeah, I think you said something really important though. You were like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I got a support system around me. I think what people need to know is you may not know what you're doing, right? But like if you wait until you do, it might be too late.
Too late.
It might be too late. So you gotta jump out there sometimes, man, and then steer yourself away from desperation and instead steer yourself towards some goals.
Yep, absolutely. Like I said, this whole shit, like I said, it's a big leap because I'm so used to working for others. You know what I mean? Like just growing up, you used, like you said, it's all about the man. You're working for the man. You're working for the man. All right, but when are you gonna start getting your own? You know what I mean? I sat down. I said, you know what? I've been in education 10 plus years. You know what I mean? High school. Now I'm working with the little ones. You know what I mean? So I covered all grounds, K to 12. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, now how can I give back? And that's how that whole ball started rolling, man. So, like I said, it's that leap. You gotta take the initiative. You can't, you know what I mean? Like you want to do it. I failed the first 2 months. I submitted the paperwork wrong. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for my 501c to get cleared. You know what I mean? I'm doing all that myself. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm self-taught. And one thing, like you said, you had that privilege to go away to school. You dig what you're saying? I didn't go away to school. I went to boys club. Wasn't a big fan of the boys club, the all boys. That was me. You know what I mean? So I went to Campos Plaza, went to community center right there. That was my boys club. You know what I mean? But the same shit. My parents made sure I went to finish my high school. You know what I mean? I went off to college, came back, started working. Different road, went back to school, finished. You know what I mean? 15, 20 years later, 10 years in education. You know what I mean? As an administrator of an elementary school. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's just half of it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. That's where my income, that's where my main money's coming from. It's for me to provide for my family.
Yes.
Now, I'm that's covered. You know what I mean? Now, how else can I provide for the community? So that's what I want to do next. And that's going to come from getting those donations, those grants, you know what I mean? And then I'm putting all that right back into the community.
Beautiful.
So that's the plan, man. So, you know, we'll see.
You already know I'm here to help, man.
You said that and you took forever 3 days to get
Yeah. Nah, but all jokes aside, let it go. All jokes aside, like this is something that people need to see. This is something that younger kids need to see. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's our kids or kids that we just know in the neighborhood, they need to see black men getting up every day, going to work. Black men getting up every day and doing something within the community, because that's the only way they're gonna see and they're gonna learn and they're gonna pick up these habits. That's the only way that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, boys, man, I got my 2 sons. They see me on this podcast. They, Daddy, you recording and doing a podcast? Yes, I am. Oh, you doing something for your nonprofit? Yes, I am. I need you to take a photo. You the star. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Oh, nigga, here,
that's cool.
Here you go. You know what I mean? I'm starting with, and that's the beauty of what I'm doing is I'm starting with my own family. My own family. I'll grab your kids. You know what I mean? I got 30 kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's nothing. If you can start with you know and your family, come on, man.
Yeah, I think people need to take that leap a little more and build within. And I think, and you know, I use that word separation. The separation between us and other communities is so vast, but there are some things that we can tackle, like the separation between employer and employee. We can become more, you know, we can become the employers more. The separation between the educated and the trained. We can be educated more. I make it cool. Like, I walk around my school with books all the time, or like documents that I print out, and I'll make it be known. Like, I'll be sitting in the middle of the hallway just reading. Now, I'm also the teacher that'll come in and clown you about a World Star video, or talk about how I cooked you on 2K, or you can look my old rap music up, you know what I mean? Or you can look up my old pictures, and then I got the tattoos and everything. But I'm sitting here reading ancient philosophy. I'm studying the Bible from an academic sense. I'm reading up on the economy, and the kids are like, yeah, that's weird, but like, why are you reading that? And now we have to have a dialogue. But just the number one thing, besides providing, that parents don't understand for their kids, the number one thing you need to do for your child is provide exposure. Exposure. Just, the fact, I have a library in my house. Do you understand what kind of effect that has had on my kids? I not only have a library in my house, they get, whenever they have a birthday, Easter, Christmas, they get like half of their gifts are books, the other half or whatever else. And now they look around, they not only see a library full of books, they see mommy reading, because I bought mommy books, I buy myself books, they see daddy getting new books, and they're like, yo, that's just the wave. And they don't care if we go someplace and nobody else is reading, it's already ingrained in them. This is what I come from. So I just expose my kids to books and a different way of doing things. At every possible cost, I expose my kids to something different so that they can never sit here and be like, yo, this is all I know. Nah, you know a lot, player, because a lot of our kids, all they know is what's outside their window. And then when you show them a map and you show them how minuscule LES is, or you show them how minuscule Harlem is to the whole world. I love to pull out the globe and I'll be like, yo, show me your hood. And they be like, I can't really find it. I bet you can't, fam. But yet you want to be king of that hood. I want to be king of the world. I want to be king of all of this. You want to be king of that? Have at it. And that's what other people are saying. You want to be king of that? Have at it. No problem. You can be king underneath me in my system. So I think people need to understand, listen, you may not be able to take your kid to Disney World, but you could take your kid to a museum. You could hand your kid a book. You could watch a different kind of movie with your kid. I sat my kids down and we watched the Jane Elliott brown-eyed, blue-eyed experiment together. It was a 40-minute video that we watched for an hour and a half and discussed. And in this video, she puts blue-eyed people in the position of the minority, and the brown-eyed people are around, and the blue-eyed people have to wear green, and they are treated like absolute dog crap, right? But the white girls in the video get so distraught and so flustered that they break down. And she's like, I don't feel sorry for you. Now, this woman is about like 70 years old and white, and she was a part of the time when Martin Luther King died, right? She was around that time, and she was a young revolutionary, right? A teacher. She changed her life when Martin Luther King died. So now she's telling, I don't feel sorry for you because you know this is a simulation and you're crying. These people around this room, they can't just cry about it or walk out of the room like the other girl did. So I don't feel sorry for you. And I turned to my son and I said, do you understand the lesson? He said, yeah. She's treating them like they're black and they can't handle it. Exposure, bro. Exposure. Because now you learn that, because you're going to hear my voice to death, fam. That's why I surround my sons by grown men that I rock with, especially in the basketball community. Shout out to the NYC basketball community. Because a lot of us are fathers to each other's kids. Why? Because I get tired of telling you to bend your knees and flick your wrists and you looking at me like I'm crazy, even though I'm the dad and the coach and I played ball and I coached for years. Like, are you dumb? But then let Heck's father or let Mel's father say it, and now they're like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Really, bro? Never? Never? But expose them to different voices. You got to expose them to different voices.
Yo, I get that to the fullest, man. Like, I've been coaching for the past 17 years. My son is 14 years old right now. And
you don't know what you're talking about, Mel.
Yo, no matter what, it's like, what? Nah. He goes to practice, coach tell him the same thing, and he's doing it. I set him up with different trainers, he's doing it. And I'm like, hold on. At a certain point, I start looking at myself like, yo, I think he think I'm soft. I think my son thinks I'm soft. I was going to use a different word. I'm trying to keep this family friendly.
I know.
Want me to say it for you?
No.
Yeah, say it.
No, I would never disrespect you like that, my brother.
Yeah. But it's like, but these are our kids. Like, so that's why, they need to be exposed to different voices, because even though we can be the voice of reason or we can know exactly what we're talking about, they don't see it that way. So, Yeah, put him in front of somebody that you do trust, and you know is gonna say the same thing you just said.
But don't get me wrong, right? Like, I'm gonna tell you, bro. Like, I love Lower East Side. I love Harlem, bro. Like, East Harlem for me is like childhood, and then West Harlem for me is like home. Like, I got family in both places, right? Lower East Side, all the above, right? And here's the thing: there's no vibe you're ever gonna get that's stronger, more passionate, more beautiful, more raw, more honest. Nah, not even. But then when you get people who have had less their whole lives and they've learned to love through it, you're not going to find a vibe like that anywhere else, right? However, I still know the hood is not the end all be all of exposure for me or my kids. So I need y'all to be able to live in that atmosphere and turn up when it's time to turn up in the hood, and then turn up when it's time to turn up in that bank, and then turn up when it's time to turn up with them stocks. Turn up when it's time to turn up with that entrepreneurship. I need you to be able to do everything, bro, not just one thing.
Yep.
Exposure.
All right, so let me. I want to bring some up. We actually running short on time. We got about 15 minutes. We've been talking for actually 40 minutes, whether y'all know this or not. But
And Andrew, this was last minute for me. You did not give me no heads up or nothing. Well, continue. My fault. Feeling like what?
Time out. Last time I spoke to you, didn't you say, yo, anytime?
Like me?
Yeah, you ain't say anytime?
You know when people say, that's like me, LA saying just hit me. You know what I mean? That's the same shit.
Why I get thrown in there? Why did I get thrown in there?
Don't come at LA for something you do the same thing. Back to my question. Fellas, do y'all have life insurance?
Yes.
Yes.
So I spoke to a couple of people that have kids, and in my mind, I'm like, you don't care about your kids. How do you have kids but don't have life insurance?
What was their rationale?
They felt, one, some people have the thoughts of, well, I'm not dying anytime soon. Why am I spending this money? I'm not dying anytime soon. I'm all right. I'm healthy. You know what I'm saying?
It's scary.
So you got people that think like that. Then you have others that think they can't afford life insurance.
Oh no, there's affordable options out there.
Yeah, so like I had spoke to somebody else who said they felt they couldn't afford life insurance. This person has 3 kids. All of their kids have Jordans. All of their kids have Yeezys.
See?
So if all of your kids have these items, these material items, how is it that you can't afford $30 a month? It's probably less than that. I'm just throwing a number out there. So that's what I'm talking, like, as far as us and the next generation, like, this is some of the things that I want to put out into the world. Whoever's watching,
because,
like, it needs to be spoken about.
What generation is this you talking about?
Ooh,
what you mean? Our generation and the ones coming up under us, like, they need to know.
Mel, that's a couple. There's a couple of we old, bro. There's 2 different generations under us. There's my 10-year-olds and my 10-year-olds and my 7-year-olds, and then there's these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds.
Okay.
And that's who Els just finished dealing with. He just finished dealing with them, so he knows about them real well.
Those are the ones we need to target. Those are the ones that guidance. They need that support. They need that exposure. Like,
they need those conversations.
They need those, and and a big part of me, like, I still not so much regret leaving the high school because I made a lot of connections in regards to getting through to some of these kids. And like LA said, I got nothing. Like, he got nothing but love for Harlem. I got nothing but love for Harlem. East Harlem, West. Like I said, I worked on 101st for 8 years.
It's crazy over there.
Bro, I know we running on time. I almost got stabbed 2 years ago. West side versus East side brawl.
Yeah.
You know anything about the East? If not from the East, do not come over there.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was in a position where I was in a school that accepted everybody, because we didn't shy nobody away. While the kids are in that building, I got them under control. Once I go outside back in that environment, they survival of the fittest. That's
and
all.
I need for America to understand the way the environment, the way it's set up. When you come out to school, there's a park outside the front of the school, like you know how the park is attached to it, right?
Yep.
You turn right and walk out that park, you a dead man walking if you got problems. That sidewalk is hot.
Depending
right
on
there.
Depending on who you, mind you, it took me, I've been there 8 years, it took me 3 years before the community was like, all right, that's Leron. Until they started looking out for me. You know what I mean?
You know why though? You know why, right?
Kids.
You know why, right? Because we have so many superheroes that come through our communities that say they want to save our kids, and then they here for a month, they here for a year, and then they gone. So ain't nobody trying to buy into that.
Absolutely.
So you got to earn it.
Absolutely. So even just by saying that, just go back, piggyback what you just said, LA, it took 3 years to earn that trust from the community, right? And I acknowledge that when the OGs, right, my first graduating class who was in them streets, when they came back and was like, oh shit, L, you still here? Niggas ain't run you away yet.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm like, dogs. Mind you, before that, I came from a juvenile detention facility with the same age, but locked up.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? I did that for 5 years. So
you know what kind of like wisdom you have dealing with that population? You have wisdom that mad people don't have.
You know,
so you're the kind of person that needs to be having these types of conversations.
You know how many kids I saved?
Yes.
Going back, you know, some kids who, you know, unfortunately I couldn't get them all, but some kids who I know for a fact, me and my team, my man Cord, you know what I mean? We were the only consistent thing in East Harlem for 7 to 8 plus years.
You were dads and uncles for a lot of people that were missing dads and uncles.
Absolutely. Even to this day, like I'm still big on staying in connection with some of these kids, and they reach out. I even have parents reaching out to me. Yo, why you left? Why you left? The school's going to burn down. You know what I mean? I'm like,
but you know what that says? That not only says that you're an amazing relationship builder and an amazing role model for our kids, especially our at-risk teens. It also says a big thing about, yo, we love to blame the victim, but at what point are we going to talk about a system where he has to step up and be dad and uncle to entire communities, where I've stepped up and I've been dad and uncle to middle school communities. So you have to ask, where are the men? And not all of the men just walked away because people got pregnant. Not all of the men walked away because they don't like the baby mother, right? Some of the men are locked up. And then people will be like, well, they shouldn't be locked up. But then we have to start looking at policy. And we have to look at who's in these meetings where they're creating policies in the government that affect our United States laws. That also, who else is also in those meetings who have ownership or stock in the privately owned prisons? Why are they all in the same meetings? Isn't that a conflict of interest? How is that possible, right? So now you have these dads being taken away, not only because of the criminal justice system, but also people forget that when welfare infiltrated the black community, they came in for the mothers and they came in to get rid of the fathers. So they only funded through welfare the mothers who did not have men living in their homes. So if they had men in their homes, you don't think those conversations were had between the women? Well, you got that man in your home. The government ain't giving you no free money, honey. So, you know, he bringing in a whole bunch of money or he got to go. You can affect someone's values by affecting their ability to live well. And so our values have shifted so much so over the course of time that we are a broken community, not only by choice, but by design.
Yeah.
And now we starve for knowledge and we starve for conversation and we starve for interpersonal relationships that we're missing out on because we're all in panic mode, because we're all in survival mode. The system is broken and it has broken our community, and people are rioting and protesting and they're yelling and going crazy because they want the system. They're saying, hey system, look, something's broken. And until you recognize that this little part's broken, we're going to break more shit. And we're going to keep breaking stuff and keep breaking stuff. Oh, you want to look at us now? We're going to stop breaking stuff. Come talk to us. But they won't look. And so we are screaming for attention. These are cries for help. And as a teacher, I have learned to recognize a cry for help. These are cries for help. These are the results of your fatherless communities. These are the results of your broken communities and your broken families. These are the results of a system intentionally lowering an entire people and designating them to the loser class. And I'll leave you with this one quote, because I know I say a lot. I studied capitalism because I wanted to study the language of the oppressors. And when I say I study languages, I'll tell you I'm fluent in capitalism, I'm fluent in oppression, I'm fluent in violence, I'm fluent in aggression, I'm fluent in, like, there are different languages you have to learn to speak. And it's not just about, like, your vernacular. It's actual, like, cultures you have to learn. And so you have to understand there is a culture of capitalism and there's a culture of money and power. And we don't know anything about that. So we just label it. And we call it discrimination. We call it racism. And they laugh at us because they're like, you people just don't understand. We're surviving better. So I'll leave you with this quotation. A capitalist said, for those of you screaming about equality and equity, I want you to think about this. Imagine you work hard in the gym, or you landed on a championship team and your championship team has now scored 100 and the opposite team has scored 2. Are you really going to take 50 of your points and give it to the losing team? No, you're not. And that is capitalism. Someone's got to lose if I'm going to win. And I was like, damn, can you imagine how that opened my eyes up? Because this whole time I've been saying, why aren't they being fair? Be fair. Fair for what? Why would I want to be fair if I could win? That's how they looking at us. We look dumb. Yeah. So we got to start speaking their languages. And the only reason I study like that is so I can speak their languages. And when they come at me with the BS, I can tell y'all what the real is.
Yep.
It's true. We got to speak different languages. Exposure, bro. Exposure.
And I know we got 6 minutes left. I'm doing your time for you, Mel. I see it.
Wow, you should have your own show.
Yo, I'm trying, man. Maybe maybe call it 52 Mindset. I don't know.
That's a good name, but go ahead.
I got to give out a behind the scenes on how I came up with that name, but that's another story. Also, it starts in the education, man. It starts in the schools. You know what I mean? Like, a big part of me transitioning from the high school world to the lower elementary, K to 5, I'm seeing a lot of discrimination amongst our own kids, and as grades low as kindergarten. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And being African American male, and I'm a dean at that. I'm administrator. I'm a dean at that. I can't even tell you how many African Americans I have in my building or in my school. You know what I mean? It's myself, my team, which is 4 of us. And then there's probably like 3 other guys, and they're white guys. You know what I mean? Like, number one, the lack of males in education is already scarce, and the lack of African American males is way worse.
There it is.
I mean, and that's where it starts. We got to get more of our African American brothers in these schools teaching our own kids.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Because these teachers, and the reason why I say that, and I lived it firsthand, I've seen it, did not only this year, previous years, when the wrong people are in charge. And I think you understand what I'm saying. The wrong people, they so quick. Matter of fact, when the white people are in charge, when they oversee, and they have the population of African Americans and Latinos in their building, you got white people in charge. They don't give a fuck about what disability they have. They can give 2 shits. The kid
or they care too much and they baby them, and now our kids turn around and don't know how to do for themselves.
Absolutely.
So we got to get us in there because we understand it. Like, Leron, I know you had a hard life. Yo, I know it was rough without growing up without a pop. I've been there, but we still got to work, right? And that's where they miss it. They're like, wow, you have it tough. Okay, I'll bring your pencils to school. No, he still got to bring his pencils. I don't care if he got rats crawling through his book bag. He still got to show up and do the work. And why? Because nobody else is going to say it's okay that you suck at life.
Nope.
Yeah, nobody.
At the end of the day, whatever your excuses are, you suck at life. All America cares about is its producers. They don't even care about the people that are used to produce. They only care about the producers. So if you can do nothing else, produce, young man, and stop waiting for somebody to hand you something to produce. That's it. But you're not going to get that because you're not going to get that because it coming from a tough white guy. It doesn't sound right? And then it coming from a white woman, it doesn't sound right.
Mm-hmm. No.
And even when it comes from a black woman sometimes, it doesn't sound right to our young black males. Because it's like, yo, I hear this from my mom all the time. I don't even really respect you like that. Hey, you're not my mother. But when it comes from a dude, it's just different. It's like, yeah, well, why you care? I care because I was you.
Yep.
Oh.
You know how many town halls I had to call with my 5th grade boys?
Yep.
On discrimination, right? Because they don't know better. They're not being taught at home. They're not being taught nowhere else.
They're being taught in the street.
They're being taught in the street. Oh, absolutely. Right? I had to teach them what a hate crime was. I had to teach them that. You know what I mean? What's a hate crime? I had to pull the definition. They had to read it back. Give me an example of a hate crime. Oh, did you display this? Yes. what the consequences for you to for you participating in this. Oh, jail, this. Oh yeah, let me tell you. I used to work in juvie. I had a kid young as 11 years old in my facility. How old are you? 11. Yeah. You ready? You know what I mean? Just like that. Kids crying, bawling. You know what I mean? Because it hit them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I keep it real. And that's another thing with younger kids. You need to get them now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with instilling that fear. Sometimes you got to get the truth. They got to feel it.
Well, the internet, if we don't get them now, the internet will. So we have to get them now.
We got to get them first.
Yeah.
We got to beat them to the punch.
Internet, social media they're being exposed to a lot. Kids are being exposed to a lot. Like the access that they have on their phones compared to our black and white flip phones we had, the access they have is crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm done with him, bro.
Hey, yo, but Leron, I want to ask you real quick. I peeped how you kind of filtered yourself from saying white people.
Yeah, first.
Yeah.
Why?
Because sometimes I just wanted to not be so.
Can I answer it? I know the answer. I know the answer. He lying. Can I answer?
But I think
the reason he said that is because he has white friends who are not guilty of the same white crimes that we like to say out loud. And so he doesn't want to necessarily say, not all white people, because then it'll lose it. So he's trying to find it. Listen, we know it's not all white people. We just understand there's a lot of them. We know it's not all police, but there's a lot of them doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's not so much of being worried of offending them, but at the same time, it's like, all right, if some people does take offense to it, you know what I mean? Like, let me practice what I preach type shit. But at the end, that's why I correct myself. I say, you know what, fuck it. Because it is what it is, right? I call a spade, right? It is, you know what I mean? It's white people, you know what I mean? So, fuck it.
Hey, yo,
at the end of the day,
one thing you touched on in one of your videos that I definitely wanted to speak about was how you broke down like racism, like the root of it, right?
Yeah.
You said something along the lines of when we were first slaves, it wasn't about racism. It was about free labor. So when they went and got us Africans and brought us over to America to work for free, the white man that was already here working gained this hate for us because now they have no job. And that's where racism came from. I never thought of it that way.
Yes, because racism is on the lower level. Racism is on a lower level. That's about separation. But with this system is about stability. And I was just reading that stability is not about equality. It's about keeping something going. And that when you're just trying to keep something going, you will sacrifice equality. You will sacrifice treating people as people. So it wasn't ever about racism until the white man was like, yo, the only people taking our jobs are these damn niggers. And then from that point on, they developed their own disdain for the people who messed with their livelihood and their security. And they never once thought about being angry with the people who hired them or the people who used them, because they weren't hired, they were used. You know what I mean? And that always happens. The police doesn't get mad at the administration, they get mad at us. Right? The stepbrother's not going to get mad at dad because that's just how dad is. But he's going to get mad at the little brother for being a punk, and he's going to take it out on the little brother.
Yep. Yeah, I just thought that was something eye-opening that you said, because that's not something that when you go to school, that's not something that's really taught. You know, and I think that it needs to be said, because that's a different perspective on it. Because honestly, we just feel like we have people who are out here who just don't like other races. They're just racist. Now, it started from somewhere, and nobody really speaks on the root of it. But it started from somewhere. Like, our kids definitely know that, a lot of white people don't like black people. They don't like Spanish people. They just don't like minorities, right? But they don't know why. All they know is that they just don't. Because
no. They may know why through the public school system, which is in textbooks that nobody fucking reads no more.
No, but,
you know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Like, even in textbooks that I've read, or even things that I've taught, it was never broken down that way. So I'm pretty sure most kids don't know it that way.
Exactly. That's why they need us for them, to educate them.
Yeah.
That's it. Because it's not in them books. It's not in them books. It's not in them schools. You know what I mean? It takes It's us. It starts
Yeah,
with us.
we gotta teach them how to speak the other languages, but we still got to be able to speak their own language. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's why we need more of us in there.
Yep. And that's the beautiful thing amongst all three of us. I think all of us, all three of us, bring that same component. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we speak different languages.
We can be professional. We can do this. We can be hood. You know what I mean? We can play ball. We can bust your ass in ball. At the same time, we can sit down and educate you. You know what I mean? So
I feel like of the three of us, though, I'm the only one that can do the last one you said. In terms of,
Yo.
wait, not with them fingers, motherfucker.
Yo.
No
What he
more.
said? He said he don't even got Twitter fingers. What he said?
You know, he said he can't. Like that's why. Yeah. He said he don't even,
it's all good, yo.
maybe
It's all good, man.
10 years ago, I'll say okay, but I'll take your money now.
Yeah, yo, El, you used to have that jump shot. Man, actually, both of y'all had the jump shot. Both of y'all had it.
My jump shot was wet. You know, it was my height. But shit, you know about the height too, man. You know what I mean? Like we had that.
Hey, yo, check this out, man. You didn't have to bring that up. Nobody could tell how tall I am or short I am through this podcast. You didn't have to bring that up.
They know now, bro.
Like,
they definitely know.
You're taking opportunities to throw shots. Wow.
That's facts.
That was
That's facts.
a
I
shot
did
to
nothing
me.
to you.
Relate. I said you relate. You relate to the height thing because we both struggled.
But you didn't have to. You didn't need confirmation on the relation, my brother.
Yeah, and I also feel like the way you said it, like it let us know he was much shorter. Like just
Oh no. I always
hold
want to
on,
make sure.
time out. Hey, yo, Els, he didn't even say all that.
Wait, just to be clear.
He
just
said
to be
nothing
clear.
about being much shorter. You know what, man?
Because people don't understand when I say I'm short, I be like, wait a second, there is somebody short.
shorter.
And so back to the lesson, we trying to find that separation.
Yo, y'all some clowns, man. Yo. But yo, hey yo, Leron, I'm not sure. Like, did you know the old Lawrence? When it wasn't even Lawrence, it was Larry, and we just called him Els.
Yeah.
Like
Wait,
this is
but what was his rap?
like this is
What was his rap?
yeah. What was your rap name? What was it?
I remember one of his shows.
Are we still on the show? Are we still on the show?
Yeah,
Are
we
you
still
doing this?
on, baby. S dot. Yo,
I
like
remember.
I remember one line that he said. Like it stuck with me. I don't know why. Maybe it was just a dope line. But we was in somebody's crib and he was freestyling. He came out of nowhere, left field, and he was like, "I run with a pack of wolves like Kevin Garnett." I remember that, John. How old was that, bro?
That was wow. That was 2000. That was like 2002, 2003. That was crazy old, bro. Yeah.
Yo, LA
Yeah,
was.
I was a sophomore in college, bro.
Sophomore in college. S dot. You're
He gave me, like I said, this dude, he's a Swiss Army knife. You know what I mean? He does many things. You know what I mean? Like, I seen him playing ball. I was like, oh shit, this nigga nice in ball. Now this nigga rapping. Now this nigga's an educator. So I'm like, what nigga, pick a lane, nigga. Like what do you do?
Yo, but honestly,
let's get it right though. We can go through the phase right now. Now, basketball Larry had the Allen Houston fade with the waves. That was basketball Larry. He had the ball fade with the waves. That was basketball Larry, right?
You're right.
And then rapper Larry grew the whole season in with the waves. That was rapper Larry.
Yup.
Now we got educational Larry grew his hair out with the.
Now he look like
he got the pepper. He got the.
Nigga about to go save his sons and shit.
Yo, how do we get here? How do we get here,
because bro? You co-signed him coming for me. All right, he got the Morgan Freeman going on. We get it, bro.
Word, bro. Word. All right. Chill. I'm dead crying when he said the Morgan Freeman though, man. Chill.
Listen, yo, LA was one of the first, probably the first like non-famous rapper show I went to. You got a show somewhere downtown, and you was like,
yeah,
yo.
I used to fill up. What was it called? I forget the lounge, but it was on Rivington Ave in Lower East Side, and I used to fill it, bro. Like it was like a little spot, and we would charge like $15, $20 at the door, and I would put on a set with like 9 or 10 songs straight. I would have people open up for me. Like I really did concerts in there, bro. And I gave people a set, not just like a mixtape. Like I gave them sets from all my mixtapes, the proper songs. They were in the right order. Like it was a set. I interacted with the show. Like I loved doing that. And that was be honest with you, I always wanted to do a big show, but like that's my deal right there. Just get a couple of people in the room. It could be a studio with 5 people. If that music is banging, I'm gonna put on a show. Like that was my vibe right there. It's better than being in an arena, not in terms of money, but just like the vibe. Like you can't connect with every person unless you on like an Eminem level or Lil Wayne. Like they connect with every person. Yeah, that's what makes them so special.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, those are good days, man. But
hey, you said a 15-20 cash to get in?
Yeah,
I paid 30.
Oh, they got you.
Oh. I'm just saying, I paid. Yeah, they got me. So I'm just throwing it out there on record that.
So I owe you money?
That's what I'm saying. Wow. I didn't want to say it.
That's what it sounded like.
You can, I got Zelle, Cash App.
Cash App.
I think you gotta. I need a button to tell you what you can have instead of that.
Oh, wait. You got it. You got it.
Nah, but you know what's crazy about that? I look back at those times. There's something I always say, man, and I'm always like, yo. 2 things. I say, 1, who let 20-something-year-old me make decisions for 39 or 38-year-old me, right? Wait, I'm 37. I'll be 38. Who let 20-something-year-old me make decisions for 38-year-old me? And this is the conversation I try to have with my sons, and I try to have a conversation with my young men. And I say, yo, when you made that decision or you acted there, because sometimes they don't think, when you acted, did you think about yourself 5 minutes from now, 2 days from now, 5 years from now? Like, y'all got to be able to think about yourself in the future, because when you get to failure, you're going to be pissed off at the person who had the opportunity, and it was you. So when you fail, when you fall short, you're going to be looking back like, yo, why did I do that? So instead of constantly spending your life looking back like, why did I do that? Constantly spend your life looking at right now like, why would I do that? Why would I do that? And am I hooking myself up in the future, or am I hurting myself in the future? Because 21-year-old me sat in his college dorm room and said, I'm not going to class. It's cold outside. What? You're not going to class because it's cold and you're on a college campus and you live across the street from the class? You're bugging right now.
But that sounds relevant,
because I did that, and I was in Ohio. So imagine how many classes I missed.
Yeah, it's cold.
Right? Because it's cold. Right. So now, because I did that, I've struggled to get into grad school since I was like 29. I'm 37. I've struggled to get into grad school. Bro, I've even taken courses over to bring my GPA up and gotten straight A's. Like, they know I'm a beast in the classroom. But that transcript, it speaks volumes. So who let 20-something-year-old me make decisions for 37-year-old me? Because that master's degree is the difference in my salary, is the difference in $30,000 a year. I've been teaching since I was 22. I'm 37 going on 38. With that amount of experience and a master's or another master's, I'd be making $30,000 to $50,000 more, bro, easily. And if you sit here and you have a conversation with me around education policy or education strategy or building relationships or building communities, you would know I could run several schools at once. And yet here I am, I can't get into grad school. So the one thing I always say is, damn, yo, like, who let me make those decisions for my future self? And the other thing I always say is, 37-year-old me doesn't want to walk into 21-year-old me. 21-year-old me was a crazy dude, reckless, and all he was looking to do was prove that he wasn't just a short, skinny kid. So he was willing to prove that on anybody's jaw or anybody's back alley, wherever you needed the static, we could get the static. Or you look at me funny, I don't care how old you are, how many kids you got, I don't care who your mother is, we got static, because I need people to know I'm crazy Larry. Insecurity, right? But I look back at all those times, and I'm only bringing it up because, we talking about who we were when we were younger. I look back at all those times, and I'm like, damn, bro, I needed a me. I needed a Leron. I needed somebody who's going to cut it to me straight. Yo, all right, bro, you tough, cool, you can fight. But what happens that one day when you run into the dude that don't want to fight?
Yeah. Okay,
you can get a gun, but what happens when your gun jams and his doesn't? Oh, okay, you a gangster, but what happens when you kill him and you get caught? Now you gangster in prison, so now you got to be a different type of gangster, so you're just going to keep improving your gangster, and you're never going to do it. Like, Nobody was talking to me real. All they was saying was go to school and get an education. But y'all not feeling my pain. So I'm not trying to hear you right now because I was going through things. And that's what I try to get people to understand about these protesters and these rioters. If you want them to listen to you, you have to hear them first. Because you're not just going to keep talking at them, talking about, yo, y'all dumb for rioting. But you don't even understand why I'm rioting. You don't even understand why I'm protesting. So until you try to understand me, why should I try to understand you? You just judging me. So I'm going to judge you right back. You know what I mean? So I use lessons from my whole life from anybody. Like I study, bro. I'm always studying. I'm always trying to get a leg up because the competition is not only got a head start, but they work together. Yeah. So until we have a country of a black community that is all about like studying the opposition and studying oppression, I'm going to go hard, bro. And I'm going to just keep speaking my facts. And if people don't want to listen, they don't want to listen, but I spoke. I can bring you to the water, but if you're thirsty, that's on you.
Can't make them drink. You already know that.
Word. So
and he just said, I could bring you to the water, but if you thirsty, that's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you bringing me the water, I think I told you I was thirsty, bro.
No. I'm bringing you the water because you didn't even know what you were thirsty for.
Ooh.
How about that?
See?
How about that?
You see how if it wasn't for me, that last gem wouldn't even came out just now. Think about that.
That was all you.
Thank you. Think about that, man. And yo, truthfully, fellas, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. We pushed an hour and 10 minutes right now, man. But
wow,
it was a good conversation, man. And I definitely appreciate y'all both. We definitely need to do this again.
Yes,
and
please.
We barely spoke about anything I wanted to speak about. Not that it mattered because Leron didn't even get the plans anyway, right?
Exactly. That's why I do my best work.
He said it before you.
No, he knows that.
Had to throw it in before you did, man.
LA, that's a behavior thing. You know what I mean? It's a subliminal. You know what I mean? I said it twice, and guess what? I modeled it. He implemented it, and he did it himself. Come on.
You still teaching, bro?
No matter what, I teach.
Can we plug our own stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Real quick. So I'm LA boy _ Raysor on all media except for Facebook, where I'm Lawrence Raysor. But I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Ballers Journal, an inner city basketball online magazine, and an overall just a hub for the basketball community. And I'm also one half of a podcast known as Beyond the Journal with Aaron and Lawrence, where we discuss similar issues like this. Only my partner's white, and it's an amazing balance because I go ham. All right, that's it.
I like that, man. What you got, Leron?
I'm simple, man. It's Leron, man. Leron on Facebook. Matter of fact, don't add me on Facebook. That's my personal page. Instagram, 50 Deuce. It's 50 DEUC3, number 3, because I got 3 kids. That's my personal Instagram, but also my podcast is 52 Mindset. FIFTY number 2 Mindset, all spelled out once. And my nonprofit, Just One Reach One, man. Empower, engage our youth to lead a better future, man. That's what it's about. So, I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? Doing it for the youth, doing it for the community.
Yo, I'm done.
He come with the horn.
Yo, that was a dope plug right there, man.
You know what I mean? I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Mel. Thank you for calling.
Yes, we appreciate you, man. This is awesome, man.
Thanks for calling me.
What we need.
You know, it was last minute for me. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he had. But I was literally.
I'm gonna say 2 things. This is how we gonna end the show. One, Els, I like your background, the Raysors. I see you.
Oh.
Yeah. That didn't happen by accident. Like
it didn't at all.
I
was like, yo, is this video or audio? It's video. Ran around the house, had to get the spot.
All right, and the second thing, Leron, since it was last minute, I didn't even give you the rundown what we was gonna be speaking about.
But it's okay. Like I said, I do my best work like that.
I'm gonna let you end the show with your intro.
Oh, snap! Wait, what you want, Freaky Friday? Or you
No.
52 Mindset, not Freaky Friday.
Damn. All right. Yo.
Why are you disappointed?
52 Mindset. Y'all niggas ain't blind yet. 52 Mindset. 52 Mindset. 52 Mindset. Ain't it that time yet? Sound like you wanna speak.
for the block.
Thug like city when I reach. Thug like pop when I fall. I don't need a witness. Music got me in this. This is just business. Oh, move a dog, clean up the dishes. If you ain't with us, you against us. Oh, what we talking about? My nigga, what we talking about? Couldn't make this. This is practice. What we talking about? Say what I mean.
I like it.
What I say. I ain't gotta watch my mouth. If you ain't with us, you against us. Clown niggas walking out. 52 months. 52 months. Oh, 52 months.
So this a whole song?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, this ain't no intro. He played his whole song off his debut album from 98. Like, what happened there, bro? That was a whole song. That was a whole 16 with 2 hooks.
Word.
You want to hear it? Can I play?
No,
No.
it's over.
It's a wrap. Hey, yo,
I'm just saying,
fellas,
y'all gonna,
I
I'm just saying.
appreciate y'all. We
Wait,
out of
you too.
here. I love y'all. We gonna do this again, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later, y'all.
Yeah, I'm cutting this down. All right. Yeah, I can't even hear you no more. Don't worry about it.
We had to edit you out, bro. Oh, man. Yo, it's good to talk to you, brother.
All right, Els. Appreciate you, bro.
All day, man.
All right.
Holla at me.
Yes, sir.